Hi, readers. I'm Jordan.
And I'm Katie.
And welcome to Not Another Heroine, the book pod where we celebrate the heroines we love
And roast the ones we don't. We'll be your TBR FGMs.
Fairy godmothers.
And find you the best 5-star reads, the spiciest romance, and save you from the overhyped DNFs.
So grab your favorite drink and get cozy. Welcome to Season 3.
It's another reading update. Da, 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 ba-doo.
I love your intro so much. No, they're magical.
I kind of imagined like a news desk, and it's like, I'm Katie, and this is Jordan, and this is your reading update.
That's awesome. That's exactly how it feels, though.
Yeah, except this is going to be much more meandering tabletop discussion where we don't like really talk about anything important, but somehow it does feel important.
I think we need to keep our dear readers in the loop of like what's in our reading brain, like what's happening, like why are we not following through when we say we're going to read something and then it doesn't post for 3 months?
Yeah, they're like, are you guys ever going to like talk about this book that you guys were like talking about?
No, probably not. No, we're terrible people.
Nope.
But thanks for sticking with us.
Yeah, honestly.
All right, we have a list. We do stay somewhat organized.
Sometimes.
All right. First off,
yes,
the spice romance matrix.
Yeah.
I need a visual to like do this justice. But as I was reading A Problematic Summer Romance, which is a pick of the week and also will be a longer episode later on, it occurred to me that there is I am not a math person. So
X and Y axis.
X and Y axis. Which one goes up?
Y.
Okay. On the Y axis, that is your spice. On the x-axis, that is your romance. And if you start at the bottom corner and you do go straight up at the very top, that is going to be your erotica.
Oh, full romance, full spice.
Yes. And so that is the most...
Are we doing a scatter plot right now? Put your next point and we'll determine.
Just crochet and read books. I don't do this.
Oddly enough, we're having like a role flip
yes,
right now.
we are.
I am secretly a math girly.
Thank you. I'm glad you are because you're going to guide me through this, describing this matrix.
We'll do it together.
Yeah. All right. And then at the very bottom, at the like zero center.
No romance, no smut.
That is fantasy.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. And then we're going to put romance probably in the dead center.
Yeah.
So it's got
a little bit of smut.
A little bit of both, or probably equal parts of both, right? So, and I think readers kind of fall anywhere from like the lower end of the scale all the way up to the erotica end.
Controversial, but the other side where it goes closer to zero, to your traditional fantasy, I feel like that's where a lot of like male-centric fantasy lands too. Like you don't think about it in terms of romance or smut, but it's like there's a little bit sometimes in some of those books.
Okay, because I was gonna say George Martin.
Yeah,
his books they're explicit.
Yeah,
that speaks to the level of detail when you're on the y-axis. So if you're getting full detail, then you are definitely somewhere on that little
erotica.
You are on the upward trajectory towards erotica.
It's like a little signpost of do not pass here. This is erotica land.
Right? But I needed to plot that so I could like properly see where I would recommend something like Problematic Summer Romance because I still have not read Not in Love.
And that's erotica.
And that is way up there. But like and Problematic Summer Romance is a little too much to be fully romance, right?
That's true. Did you think Problematic Summer Romance or Deep End was smuttier? I think Deep End is.
Ooh.
Because there was like a lot going on.
Oh, yes. I forgot. Like, Problematic Summer Romance like overwrote my brain. And then I just recalled some of the scenes in Deep End that are, oh my God.
Yeah. There's
like the library?
Yeah. Because that's kind of the hard thing for me, too, that I didn't realize that there's an aspect of, I think you've brought it up, though, of like frequency in the erotica, how spicy it is, because there's some books where it's like the descriptions are insanely detailed, but it only happens like once or twice, which I kind of feel like is a little bit more towards Problematic Summer Romance. But then you have books like Deep End where it's in explicit detail and all the time.
Yes.
Which also Not in Love is like that too. So it's kind of hard to say like something is 4 or 5 stars on the spice meter, but it's like, well, is it just like one really detailed scene or is it,
And I think that's kind of where romance falls, where you have
Mm.
a lot of detail, but it's not super frequent.
Oh, I could see that.
So
It's just that like 70%.
yeah. 65%?
Climax.
Oh, Katie.
Oh, yeah.
No.
It's a word that people use.
It is, but should they?
No, absolutely
No.
not. It should never be used in reference to what it sounds like it should be. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yikes.
So-
We'll knock that one off the to-do list.
Okay. Yep. Done on that one. The next one is what I am going to call my rating revelation.
I have not heard about this, so I'm excited.
I feel like an awful person after I had this revelation. I'm like, I have reviewed and like starred all of my books incorrectly for years, it feels like. Because I forget, I think it was Deep End originally, where, I read it, I finished it. That in and of itself is like, okay, that's great. That's couple extra stars in my rating scheme. But I had to ask myself, because I was originally going to put it as like 3 or 4 stars.
Okay.
Because I don't rate books that I don't finish.
Right.
But at the time, I'm like, well, why am I rating it 3 or 4 stars? I'm rating it this way because, well, I didn't like how detailed it was, how much, detailed in the explicit sex scenes, right? And the frequency of them. And I had some like issues with how the characters were kind of done. They seemed a little flat.
Yeah.
But really like minor gripes. At the end of the day, I'm like, what did Ali Hazelwood set out to do with this book? What was she trying to write for what audience? Well, she was trying to write pretty smutty college romance geared towards, 18 to 25-year-olds. And she did that perfectly well. Like, that was the goal of this book. College-aged romance, lots of sex, address power dynamics. And she did that. So she met everything. The writing was fine. The pacing was fine. So why wouldn't I rate that 5 stars?
Interesting. Because it's hard, because it's like, is a rating how well the author did what they set out to do, or is it how much you liked it? Because I feel like how much you liked it is kind of like not helpful to anyone.
And that's what I'm saying, is because I think a lot of people rate books based on how much they like it, not how good the writing is or what the book is, like who the book is geared toward and what's it trying to accomplish. So another book that we're going to talk about is The Night and the Moth.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't love it. I finished it, and I was going to rate it a little bit lower, and then I thought, well, what is the author trying to do? She's trying to do XYZ with the world building, design this character, tell this story. The writing was fine. There was nothing to complain about. And who's the target audience? Okay, so maybe slightly older adult, like young adult, new adult readers, and it's romantasy. It checks all the boxes.
Wow.
Why would I rate it lower if it's doing everything it's supposed to say? And I think when you're rating books, it's okay to not like the book.
Yeah.
And you can like explain that in your review. And I think a lot of times people get confused. I was confused with, I just don't like some of these heroines.
Yeah.
Like, they're not relatable to me, and I don't like the way they speak. I don't like their motivations and intentions. But that's a bias. That's not like an objective rating of the writing.
I feel like there's also something to that too, because sometimes the main character is meant to be not relatable. Like, that's just who they are as a person, and that's kind of like part of their story arc. So if you're rating it based on how much you don't like them, but that was the intent, like,
or it's relatable to a different
yeah,
subsection of the audience, the target audience.
That's true. It would be nice if we had a universal like approach to rating systems, because I feel like there's some of these books that I've picked up that are okay, but in no fucking world are they like a 4.9 stars.
Yeah.
Like, just based on like writing style, based on like plot, like cohesiveness. It's hard though, because I feel like it's probably self-centered view a little bit, but I like to think that my opinion of a book matters, but like realistically doesn't, because I give The Night and the Moth 4 stars, because I was like, it's good, it set out what it intended to do, it was like cohesive, but there was just parts that I was like kind of ambivalent towards. So I was like, oh yeah, 4 stars, but it's like, that's on me, that's not on her.
Well, I think we can make an argument for The Night and the Moth, which is, I feel like the romance fell flat. for a multitude of reasons, which we'll get into in the episode. And so on that point, I'm like, well, she set out to write a romantasy. The romance kind of sucked. So maybe this justifies removing a star.
Mm-hmm.
But I think whether you like the characters or not and like the setting, like if the setting works and it's meant to be that setting the way it is, like, okay, fine. Like that's on you, whatever.
Yeah.
I'm trying to be more open-minded on some of my like ratings and book reviews and stuff.
That's fair. I feel like that's probably a lesson that all of us could take a little tidbit from.
I don't know if it's going to stick. I'll be honest with you, because if if I ever picked up Zodiac Academy,
oh God. That's something that if you didn't finish, it still deserves 1 star, regardless.
So yeah, that's the rating revelation.
Oh God. Are we going to talk about fanfics? Because I am full back into my Mojo Dojo land.
Okay. Yes, we are, because one, there are so many like official ones coming out.
I'm so excited. Oh my God, because we have Rose in Chains, Julie Soto. That's coming out next month.
She better not fucking disappoint us on this one. Not another love song, excuse me?
Dude, I will say that's the one that makes me a little bit more hesitant, just because the auction, which is what it's based on, the original fanfic, was not my favorite. It's a little bit like juvenile, but it's hard because I don't know if that's just like where her skill level was when she originally wrote the fanfic. There's a lot of it that's a little bit like teen wish fulfillment. You know what I mean? Like a la Twilight, but like without as much skill in its writing. You know, props to Stephanie Meyer where it's deserved. So we'll see about that one. But we also have The Irresistible Urge to Fall for Your Enemy by Bridget Knightley, which comes out a week later. I
didn't realize it was coming out back to back.
They're back to back.
That's kind of a ballsy move on the publisher's part. Like, oh, really? But I have this one. And I'd say that one, I know The Auction and then Draco Malfoy and the Mortifying Ordeal of Being in Love. Is that?
Datmobile.
I know they're like neck and neck in the fandom for like one of the best Dramione fics. But I consistently see Datmobile read this book. I did try.
Oh, you didn't finish Datmobile?
Well, I also didn't give it a lot of effort.
That's fair. That's fair.
I will try it again, because I think what turned me off of it is it's written from Draco's perspective.
It is.
The entire book, isn't it?
That's why I'm kind of interested to see that one, too, because I don't know how well that one's going to translate without the backbone of Harry Potter. Just because, like, it doesn't necessarily rely on those events, but a lot of it is within the same world. And I think from what I've heard that one is like they rewrote the entire world. Like he's like an assassin or something.
Oh.
Yeah, so that's why I'm like, I don't know what this is going to be, but we're going to find out. And that leads me into
confession time. Katie, what is going on?
I don't know. So I have like not listened to any audiobooks in a long time, and it's because I am re-listening for the 47th time Measure of a Man.
This is a pick of the week.
In a Days 22. Yes, it is.
Yeah, so if you're curious what this one is about, please see our back catalog.
I go into long detail. God, SCP fanfic readings on Spotify. She has the whole thing. Woman is amazing. She put like so much effort into reading this monstrosity of a fucking, Jane Austen book. But it's available for free. It's on audiobook. It's on Spotify. I love it so much.
Refresh my memory just a little bit. I know we have the other episode, but I also forget. Isn't this the one where she is like a child psychologist?
She's a like mind healer. Narcissa Malfoy has dementia, and so she's the healer, and then she's kind of like walking into this grenade of a family where the son doesn't talk. Draco is like very walled off emotionally, and the family's falling apart. And so she tries to like help out with the dementia thing and then also patch together the family. I love it so much. Oh God.
I haven't read a fic in a long time.
I don't know that this one itches the fanfic scratch, but it itches that like angsty...
Itches the scratch, huh?
I have never been able to say that one right, honestly. But it's like long form, very thoughtful. They're way older. It like reads very like maturely. I feel like it's a little bit more fiction-y, like character study. I don't know anything about formal literature, but I'm reading it again. It's worth listening to. Now we are going to live reveal Jordan's accidental beef with a famous author.
No, it's not a beef. I think it's like a slight exaggeration. I just feel very, very awkward about this. Okay.
I love this.
I have never felt more mortified in my entire life than I did in this one moment. So, Julia Quinn, author of the Bridgerton series.
The award-winning.
Yeah. You know, Shonda Rhimes made a fucking Netflix series from her books. So Julia Quinn, I have been reading her since I was a teenager. Love some of her books. She came to our local area for like a book event, book fair, and I got tickets last minute. Super stoked. They did it really cute. Like, I think the local library sponsored the event. So a lot of the benefits from it, like, are going straight back into to the public library. So she's amazing. So she does a lot of like anti-book bans, like fundraising and stuff. She does a lot of nonprofit. She's married to like a doctor, and I forget.
Oh.
He has a podcast actually.
Oh.
On infectious diseases, I think.
Ew.
Or I'm getting that wrong, so I don't want to speak too much about that. But it was cool. He was also there at the event, sitting in the back. I'm like, that's really sweet.
We love a supportive husband.
Yes.
Or partner.
And she also does a lot of like fundraising for libraries.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So she's very cool. And I believe she's like a local author, which is why they were able to get her at this event. So it worked out. It was an interesting audience. We had some very older women and we had some very, very young women whose only exposure to her books was through the show. So like they watched the show and then they started reading the books.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. And I'm so excited. I got 2 books signed. One of them is like one of those trashy 80s romance covers.
Love it.
Awesome. But they opened up for questions after the like the standard interview stuff. And I'm sitting there thinking, do I really want to ask this question? Do I do this? A lot of build up here, readers. So I follow the historical romance subreddit, and it's been brought up a few times on there that some authors, namely Lisa Kleypas, who is one of my beloved authors, has revisited some of her older books that have themes or characters or events in the plot that have not aged well with gender norms and the political climate. And I think it was correct to go back and revisit some of these things. So I asked Julia Quinn, because she brought up Lisa Kleypas as one of like her like author that she read growing up that inspired her to write. I asked her if she would revisit any of her older books to kind of revisit or revise things. I didn't have a book in mind. I didn't have a scene in mind. I just want to put that out there as in like I wasn't trying to call her out.
Like a loaded question.
No, I'm not looking
Page 128.
That was not my intent. I was just curious, like her opinion as an author revisiting like older books. And her response was a little jarring to me because her response was, you know, one, is that even happening? Like, I hadn't heard that Lisa Kleypas was doing that. So is that real? And I felt like instantly attacked. Like, I didn't make it up. I swear. I'm like, I looked around the audience like, please back me up on this one. I got some head nods. I'm like, thank God. But she said she would not revisit any of her older books.
Interesting.
And which fair, like she was put on the spot, like this is not exactly a nice question, and that she puts her best effort at the time that she writes for all of her books, and she didn't want to or feel like she needed to go back to any of her older books. And I feel a little conflicted with that answer.
Yeah.
I do a lot of professional, like technical writing, and I can't point to any piece of work that I've contributed to that couldn't stand for another revision, that couldn't be repaired with some more like concision and clarity. Because I feel like as a writer, you're always constantly improving, and what you write 10 years ago is not going to be what you're writing now. So even like taking out the like political and like gender norms and stuff like that, just the writing style alone, I would want to go back. So it was just an interesting answer to me. I probably shouldn't have asked in the first place.
No, you should have. Because so on the one hand, academic textbooks get revised all the time. Like there's a reason that there's like 4th edition, 8th edition. Like it gets revised when things change. So like an odd like power stance to say no.
Yeah.
But I also think that like depending on some of the changes, like obviously like a technical level, like edit, you know, sure, if you wanted to, but like some of the aspects would really only take like a couple sentence modifier. And then it's like you've addressed something that's problematic and like maybe potentially harmful to the people that are reading it to make it not that way. And it was a 2-sentence change.
Yeah.
Because like I'm thinking of even the first Bridgerton book, Daphne's story, where she like I don't know the right term for this, but she like basically makes her husband complete in a place he did not want to. But it's like with like 2 sentences, you could adjust that to give him a little bit of justice and still make the plot happen the same way, but without the violence. You know what I mean?
Well, and that's kind of another question too, because sometimes you question like, okay, these are historical romance books. Like, are you striving for historical accuracy? Well, yeah, you're going to have some issues there with gender roles, for example. But also for certain plots, like sometimes you need, maybe not need, but sometimes the violence or the questionable activities drive the plot along, and that's necessary for the character growth and for them to learn. So I can see it on both sides. She was lovely. She still signed my books. She handled
She's like, bitch.
she handled that question like the professional that she is. So I appreciate her willingness to take the question and answer it. But yeah, that was a little embarrassing for me.
I love every aspect of this.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that is our...
That's all.
Well, okay, we have one last caveat on our reading update, which is, before we took our break, we announced that we were going to read Ravishing the Heiress by Sherry Thomas. We have read it.
Yep.
Just want to put that out there. But we are not going to do our episodes on that book right away. Just for the publishing schedule that we have in mind, we want to give you Rose in Chains as soon as it comes out.
Oh, yeah.
So we will be doing that one first, and then Ravishing the Heiress will publish a little bit later.
We will not forget about it because that girl, I know, honestly.
Poor Millie. She needs
some kind of, someone in her corner to advocate for her because she got the raw end of the deal, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, from our shelf to yours.
We will see you on the next page.
Hi, readers. Like what you've been hearing? Check out the Spice Archive at notanotherheroine.com to see all of our reviews and ratings. And if you'd like to support our growing library, find us on Patreon and get access to exclusive bonus content.
If you'd like to just listen, we post new episodes every Monday and Wednesday on Spotify, Apple, and Amazon. Thanks for listening.